place there.
And it's
Genji's classic.
And it's a very weird right of first selection here as well, as D+ chose blue side and Genji chose second pick. And it's not often that order that we get it in. Often the blue side is chosen second. This is something that D+ used to do quite a lot in 2025, but we've seen less of the blue side first picks more recently, as Nocturne going to be taken away as well as that Lucian. The Poppy remaining on the ban list here. We've seen Poppy kind of left up, but not actually picked on this patch more often than not, but still going to be on the ban list here for D+.
A lot of respect being shown to Smash's Lucian. Most teams are banning it away from him. I do think it's a good idea. No Cassiopeia just yet.
No.
As blue side here for first pick and blue side for D+ Gia means they have first pick for that, so they don't have to ban it. Galio's taken away. So if you ban Cassiopeia, Showmaker gets Orianna. So I think we're going to see a bit of a trade here.
I would imagine so.
Maybe they just ban Jarvan.
Could be an option. We'll see what they do decide to do. Could be something completely off the wall, as the Jarvan will be the ban.
I think that makes sense for a trade. If I'm Showmaker, I prefer the Cassiopeia here, I think. It's just so strong, so powerful, pairs with so many different jungle picks. There's no Nocturne, obviously no Jarvan. So going for Orianna can still work, but it's not as powerful as it could otherwise be.
I do think locking down the Cassio could be a good idea, because I think they'd want a Lee Sin for Lucid as far as the next jungler on the tier list. And Cassio can be hard to play into as the Lee. So it could be an option to just lock that one away and then try and get your Lee Sin next round. That's looking like their plan here so far.
I suppose they could have considered a Lee Sin first pick and then gone Lee Sin Orianna into the Cassiopeia themselves, but they decided not to. Which means Canyon probably is going to get his hands on the Lee Sin here with the Orianna on the other side.
That's if they want to play into Miasma with it.
Yeah, it's tricky, but I think it is quite powerful still. If you play it well, Cassiopeia is still very immobile regardless. So could just be Xin Zhao here for the Orianna pairing, as that's the last likely jungler that's going to be picked up here that isn't the Lee Sin. Does walk into a Trundle counter pick, but we have seen that work very rarely these days, even though it's still picked a lot.
Yeah.
They're actually going to take the Bard here in a split bottom lane.
Okay.
Let's see if Smash and Career are willing to take a Caitlyn lane, for example, to deny that pairing here, or if they're just going to accept this and look for jungle and a strong top pick here for Xiu. Looking for that Lee Sin I was talking about.
Yeah, just going to stick to the plan by the looks of things. So Lee Sin and maybe... Oh, never mind.
You're playing into Canyon's Skarner potentially as well if you do pick the Lee Sin.
It's a good point.
As against any other team, I think it'd feel pretty good to blind this, but against Genji, definitely some second thoughts, I have to imagine.
Do you want to lock the Caitlyn here now, though, for Gen G? That is the big question. How much do they value getting that good pairing with the Bard? Because you will lose that option if you do not lock it away here. So I do like throwing out the Lee Sin. I do also like the idea of blind picking your top laner here as well for D+, because Gen G can only pick so many things. This is a very cool one. Seeing the Camille come back towards the top lane a whole lot more on this patch and can still be flexed into that bottom lane if they want to.
So is it Caitlyn? Feeling very good if it's Camille support, but again, less likely, as you were mentioning. And I think there's just not a whole lot of lanes you can play into this. Even if they go for like Karma, it's okay, but doesn't feel great. And they could just ban the Karma now if they're worried about it even slightly.
I would prefer not to have this be a just cleared 2-0 from the Draft Wolf. The Ziggs, though, is going to be banned away first. And what are we getting rid of?
They banned?
As far as the... I mean, maybe you just get rid of Skarner and then whatever one top lane champion you don't want to deal with.
Skarner, 1000%, I think, in this ban spot, but everything else a little bit more open-ended. You could ban Skarner and Jarvan and just be like, you're playing something awkward here in the jungle. Good luck with it. As the Ziggs ban, it's not because Ziggs necessarily pairs incredibly well with the Camille. It's just a bottom laner that can sit back and farm while you play through topside, where your Camille is and has TP.
Yep.
Feels like a great ban.
It allows your Camille to roam as well a whole lot better. Yeah. This was our first Camille lane that we really saw starting to pop off towards MSI times.
Exactly. So they just don't want to allow that. There's the Jhin. So leaving the Karma, but not really any strong pairings left for it. If it's Sivir Karma with this draft, it'll feel so bad.
I knew Ryu was my favorite coach. Look at that. The Jin ban, gorgeously done.
Probably just a Xin ban, I think, here to prevent that from coming through for Canyon.
Wouldn't mind it.
Otherwise, what do you hate to play against this Camille top? If you show that ban, I don't think there's anything right now in this meta that you want to play in this situation, but if you show that ban, it makes it very clear what you're doing. As just banning Vayne isn't as obvious because that's good into basically everything right now, so leaving your options open, you could still play some more support Camille and play Gnar top, for example.
Yep. Well, Rula is going to have to give away one of these options, probably a jungler.
I think they can just go for the Xin now and wait and see. Give Keen counter pick. This is why Gen G chose second pick. They get to have this option.
Yeah.
Go Xin Zhao and then say, all right, let's see. What are you bluffing, or is it just Camille top?
What could they also flex? Maybe they just pick Shen. Shen something, and then just put whichever one in the top lane that you want to play. I love that. I'm hoping that that is going to be the idea here. Playing Shen into Bard Caitlyn doesn't sound very fun. Playing Camille into it also doesn't sound fun.
Yeah.
Maybe some sort of Karma lane is what they need. Like Siva Karma feels so hard to play.
So bad, but I guess they might have to.
Oh,
what about playing bottom lane Cassiopeia?
Or bottom lane Victor. Smash did start his mage bottom lane career playing the Victor.
By the way, D+ was the first team to showcase consistently playing mage as bottom lane. They did it at EWC. They had the most flexes. They were the best at it. But we're going back to it.
Slam me the Varus. Shiu, give us an 80 carry on the Rift. All right, it's a very short range 80 carry that sometimes gets too angry.
They banned the Vi, but Tristana, which by the way, Shiu is very familiar with this as a counter pick, is still available. And I have a feeling Keen is pretty interested in that response. He could also just play Ambessa. They've got a great comp. It's going to be a good ball carrier. Twisted Fate, a classic. And so a player who's known to do this, he and Zeus really making this a thing years back into the Gnar. I hate to say it, but I think we have to acknowledge it. Once again, D+'s draft leaving us with, I don't want to say confusion, just a little bit of disappointment because it feels so obviously kind of stunted by its comp win cons. Like last game we had, it has to get ahead, it has to do this, it has to do this. In this game, it's like, well, it has to scale, it has to be stable, but you're playing into a Caitlyn Bard lane.
And they're
playing into you're blinded in our top.
You're also always going to be outranged. It is kind of ridiculous. They cannot let Ruler run away with this game. And the problem is, we saw the kind of form that player was in game number 1. It was kind of absurd. He was running circles around them on the Ezreal. And his Caitlyn, I feel like we only just saw one of his huge highlight clips on that pick as well. Something that he's been finding a lot of success on more recently. So I think we could be cruising towards another very difficult game here for D+.
I mentioned it earlier. I think we've given CU Max a lot of credit, but I also said when D+ fall with him, they fall hard. They fall together. Today's best of 3 kind of feels like that sort of situation. At least the lineup is there. They played well in game 1 despite the deficit. They may have to do it again here in game 2, but hopefully for them, walk away with a W.
Yeah, let's just hope there are no catastrophic mistakes in the first few minutes of this game. Let's get into the Rift for game 2. All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, onto the Rift for game number 2 of our Saturday showdown. DK backs against the wall. And they're going to need a bit of a miracle here, as Chovy with the Capybara do very much like that as an emote choice for the start of the game. And Korea already bone plating down.
That's not his favorite thing.
No, this is going to be a very difficult time.
Yeah, it's
Smash and Career in this lane.
So we've talked about it so much, but when you're playing mage into AD carry, you have to line something up with your support and get a good bursty trade. In this case, you got to hope to get a gravity field to land while you've got the hook shot coming through. So you got to start with the gravity field. You do something like that, which you can't do at level 1, then you can kind of get enough damage done to where you can continue to trade. Otherwise, the AD carry presses the buttons while you press your buttons, but then the AD carry kept shooting you.
Yeah.
And when they have a range support like this, with Electrocute, you can't win trades, actually. So I think with the MR that's been added to our marksman here as well, it just it feels bad.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that.
I feel like we've explained this 1,000 times, but every time it happens, we have to be like, well, let's go back through the reasons why this probably isn't a good idea.
Yep. Sometimes it is important to reiterate. And thankfully, Gen G are probably going to do a better job than us at demonstrating exactly how difficult this has now become.
I personally also prefer the Cassiopeia bottom because you can play, okay, here we go, bit of a trade.
Looking for an angle towards Duro here, utilizing the slightly buffed Hextech sweep here.
Yeah.
Try and do a bit of extra damage. Duro looking somewhat worse for wear. This is a benefit, though. The fact that Showmaker now actually has a good matchup in the mid lane against this Orianna. And another hookshot wall dive is going to connect. Duro taking a bit of damage, but Ruler is now getting involved, getting these traps down, but Korea not going to step on them just yet. As Duro may actually just go back, grab some Coco.
They can't extend the trades. Like, they're doing exactly what I was talking about for the burst trades, and it's going as well as it can, but that's just not well enough because, as you mentioned, there's the sustain there for the bar. Now some traps are set up to prevent Career from making a play like that. They can continue to position aggressively. Lucid is nearby, but I think he has a ton of agency here. Let's see how aggressive they get with no vision.
She was 7-0. Okay, that's kind of crazy. As Lucid looks for the angle, they get on top of Duro. Everyone's flashed, and the Ghost is now popped here from Ruler. Traps are down. He's trying to be frustrating, but Lucid is just going to head back and say, well, my work here is done.
Yeah, I think Canyon's going to say the same thing.
Yeah.
Wasn't able to get down here fast enough. I didn't think they were going to go for the play, but they actually do get the punish. And this will actually impact the lane significantly, as Smash and Career could stay here, get some additional farm, and will only find themselves a little bit down in CS.
Yeah.
Trying to get the backstop here onto Ruler, but will be unsuccessful. He is flashless, but fortunately for Lucid, not able to get close enough to impact him there. It will be a plate, potentially here. It's very close. Looks like not quite on this wave.
I think they should be able to stick around, though. Smash does have teleport, so he can be back to lane whenever he likes. Gives them a little bit more flexibility when it comes to going for those resets. So I like this from D+.
If
being able to capitalize on this good start.
If Ruler and Duro were able to get vision or predict Lucid's gank there and back off, they just walk away feeling so good about the game state. As it turns out now, they still have a small lead. Like you mentioned, the TP is there, but it's not as big as they would have liked. They're also flashless, so follow-up ganks, which are unlikely, but still possible. Could certainly be a problem, is obviously Lucid has the path topside and clear his jungle, so he won't be down here, so they could just rinse and repeat. But with no vision, you always have to wonder, and they will set that up right now. Duro putting a critical ward there in the entrance. They had that bush ward from when Canyon was down here moments ago. We haven't really looked at the top side of the map right now, but it's obviously a disaster.
Yeah, it's looking a little bit tough here for Shiu right now. I really did like that ping. You just saw it, like the danger ping onto exactly where Korea was making his way out of base. They knew that this Camille did want to start roaming around, and Duro right on it, knows exactly what's going to be coming here, and so everyone can stay safe. You were talking about it before, but the scaling on both sides is pretty good, but I think that Gen.G very happy for this game to go late. Obviously, ADTF in the top lane is a bit of a weird one, but Orianna, Caitlyn, even the Xin Zhao just get better and better with age.
And I mean, you have an okay ball carrier with the Xin, but what you have is Tempered Fate, which is a really long-range ultimate that can set up your shockwave very easily. And if it hits multiple targets, it gets even better. So maybe the bar just the real ball carrier here is Duro is going to have to go away.
Yeah, it takes the magical journey and is going to be absolutely fine in the end.
Nothing too big from this. We'll just force him to back. And this game state is pretty quiet, but the small advantage picked up here in lane can be felt. Big one here for Showmaker. He prefers this matchup, and I think most would into the Orianna. So even though I was saying earlier that the Cassiopeia has more consistent damage in a 2v2, what you gain here in the mid lane is definitely significant.
And the problem is everywhere else is just kind of struggling, as we can see here. Destiny just to get Keen back towards the top side, and also gets a bit of extra vision here at the same time. So we'll see what the build is going to look like. The attack speed variant often just goes for a bunch of on-hit stuff. Can work out very, very well.
You know how we have a lot of... Okay, we're going to have a backstop.
Yeah, Ruler is actually taking a fair bit of damage here, as even the Hextech sweep doing a fair bit of work. Duro will make his way back, but Ruler without any summoner spells.
This is pretty big, actually, because this may allow them to just get the dragon with no contest. I think it will with the mid-prior they have.
Yeah.
So Career kind of just walks up here and says, I'm going to be annoying, and Ruler kind of commits in, and it's going to stop their back and give Smash a lot of extra power. It still hasn't teleported, by the way, so has that summoner spell still in tow for a potential fight later on elsewhere on the map, or just for returning to lane on a good back. So feeling very good. But I was just going to say, you know, we have the stacks counter for a lot of champions.
Yeah.
I wish Twisted Fate just had one on what is average extra gold he's got.
The average roll.
So you could be like, man, it's a really high roll for Keen this game. He's actually averaging really high.
Yeah, like 5.5. What the heck?
Exactly. I wish we had that. That'd be super sick.
That'd actually be very cool. LCK, get on it. We'll see whether we can get that one put into the API. As Korea will walk over a ward heading towards his top lane. Keen already playing very respectfully of what Shiu is capable of doing here towards his top side, and Shiu has actually been able to equalize the CS. The problem is, the guy he's playing against is cheating. Often does have an ace up his sleeve. As Keen clears out that wave, reclaims the CS advantage. That gold advantage is definitely a little bit skewed. So, Merc Tread's done here for Shiu. Still looking for that item number 1. Showmaker taking some damage here against Chovy. Does need to be a little careful as Korea will be able to move back on over. They should be able to get a bit of a crash here.
Chovy is going to have to play respectfully, but he is Orianna, so we'll just be totally fine here in the exchange as long as he doesn't step too far forward. Keen just being very annoying. The farm is really good here, though, for Shiu.
Yeah.
Considering the matchup, like you said, just purely a Twisted Fate cheating situation. That's what he's known for, is the sleight of hand and all that.
Yeah.
This game has been very slow at its outset, which is pretty good for D+, especially considering they got that first dragon. They played the bottom 2v2 way better than I expected. Ended up with an advantage in mid, small disadvantage top, small disadvantage bottom lane, right? Like, they stabilized there so well. In fact, it's even a gold lead here for Smash, who TP's back. And now they're going to contest these grubs.
All right, Canyon takes the first one. Shiu's moving on over, though. The Narbar in a great spot. As Korea possibly able to get something done here as well. Level behind Duro, but Duro doesn't have Tempered Fate available just yet. And Canyon is just taking these grubs right in front of them. That is just all of them down. DK haven't yet made a play, as now Canyon could be in a little bit of trouble. Lucid going to get that kick into the wall as Shiu gets himself out of there, throws his ultimate to Narnia, and now Lucid going to have to just safeguard his way out. That's a great wallop, but I don't think Shiu is going to be safe from this one. And there is Keen locking down the kill. Another one going over to Canyon as well. Genji just finding everything they want, stunned against the wall, and it's a double kill for Keen's Twisted Fate. In this top lane, he's looking to grab himself a little bit of red card value here. Shout out to Reginald, but Showmaker is able to make his way out.
Well, D+ greeted pretty hard Atlas on that one, and it did not pay off. As if you watch the fight again, you can see it looks like D+ are just waiting for something, as Duro's not done yet. He wants even more here, looking for Smash.
Yeah, Gravity Field goes down. Smash will be all right, though.
Good placement, keeping Ruler at bay.
Yep.
Chases easily. But if we get a chance to watch that replay, you guys will notice that D+ are waiting for something. They're kind of like just letting Canyon have the grubs. And that limiting factor was the Narbar for Shiu. They're all trying to line all of this up. So look at this fight again. Shiu almost has his Nar. Canyon gets this second grub without smiting. So he's like, all right, it's pretty much all 3 guaranteed. And when they get the Narbar, he's just chain CC'd and then pushed down. And D+ go for the fight on the other side into Canyon, who has Crescent Guards. So they can't win that side of the fight. Shiu's just left alone. And D+ were trying to just do too many things in this fight, with Showmaker coming over on the right side but couldn't get access. Canyon just outplays here. Genji played it brilliantly. They keep the Gnar at bay. They have the Crescent Guard. They know it's checkmate. If they push onto the Gnar, they're likely to lose that fight, so they just wait. And then when D+ goes in onto the Crescent Guarding Xin, he is very happy to take that exchange, as Ruler, I think, really wants to get his kills up to that next breaking point.
Yeah, good flash. And yeah, unfortunately for Ruler, he just wasn't there, so Genji were just killing people without him. Yeah, it was basically just cheerleading. That's what Ji-sun explained. Yeah. So, yeah, Ruler unfortunately not able to grab a few extra kills for himself to try and reach that milestone.
Yeah, I don't know how many actually he ended up with a total in that last game, so I don't know how many left.
Wasn't that many. I think he's got over 10 to go, so it's going to be a tough game to get all of them here.
I'm sure someone will update us on that, but we'll get that counter for you guys as soon as we can. By the way, he's sitting at 0 right now. Not the early explosive start for him that he had in Game 1.
And Chovy as well has picked up a couple of assists after this. It's been a bit of a slow game. Obviously, as Orianna, you are going to take your time. The Kraken Slayer is now done for Keen. 2-0-0 on the TF. And you can see, like, the CS lead has not changed, but he's now 1.3k ahead. As now Ruler gonna have to flash away. Lucid looks for the angle, but the net was too good alongside the flash, and Ruler will be able to make his way out.
Just doesn't go for the kick. Still has it now for this fight.
All right, Hextech Ultimatum going to pull Duro out of his magical journey, and Lucid tags him with the Q. The Bard should be going down. Safeguard's going to get him in there as there's the kick onto Canyon to get him out of this fight, and now Smash is on the board. Looking for a second Dragon here as well as D+. They are not out of this game yet.
Chovy wants to stick around here, but I don't think he should, especially with that push in mid. He's not going to be able to accomplish anything, even with the Shockwave. So just leaves, and now is just going to have to catch this wave. So they don't get the kill onto Ruler. Well, they're able to get his sums, and then with that kick in tow, they make the turn happen. And Gen.G were just trying to bite off a little bit too more than they could chew there on that play, but the timing of the ultimate there for Career Fantastic is able to prevent Duro, even with his magical journey, from getting away.
Yeah.
And without the support there, it was just not a fight that was ever going to be winnable without Chovy being able to join and Ruler being pushed away. So clean fight. We'll watch it again. So after the escape of Ruler isn't here, Chovy isn't here yet, Duro's like, I want out of this situation. Now, Gen.G, who were rotating over to try to get a punish on that pick onto Caitlyn, are caught here without their mid laner. And with a really nice ult from Career, as mentioned, it's just a freebie here for D+.
Oh, Xiu is also now just dead, as without the help of the turret, there is nothing he can do. So that is another kill going over to Keen, or actually it's a kill going over to Duro, but an assist over to Keen and a whole lot of map control.
Yeah, and Keen, he is pretty large. He's going for AD Twisted Fate because that's what you do in top lane, and so he is just incredibly fed early with this Kraken Slayer, and is likely setting up here to get first turret because there's just no answer right now. Xiu doesn't have teleport. If they try to overextend here to kill this Twisted Fate, he can't just ult away. So it's a waste of time for D+ to stop him. He's just got them in this really uncomfortable spot here. He's got tons of vision as well in the enemy jungle, so he knows that if they're rotating up, he can just go away. He still just plays it safe here and lets the turret deny CS rather than going for first brick right now. Frankly, he doesn't really need that much more money.
No. He has gone steel caps, though. So, I mean, that's good for a double AP composition. DK kind of all right with that, but this is going to be an issue that's going to come up as this game goes on. It's the whole consistent damage problem. As Duro comes on over and just turns off the turret.
He knows the Camille's in the mid lane, so he knows that this magical journey is safe to take.
Yep.
As, just clean using the ult to disable the turret. Very free play there.
Welcome back, Ohm Wrecker. Heck yeah. All right, Ruler is going to take some death ray damage, and Smash is in a pretty good spot here in this game. Does have the only gold lead for his team. And so I think a lot are going to be looking to him to try and win these late game fights. And honestly, him and Showmaker do have a lot of damage potential. We were talking about consistent damage. Cassiopeia does have that.
Yeah.
Right? That is sort of her thing
there
as a mage.
That much frontline here for Gen.G either. They have a lot of damage, but if their Caitlyn gets to that trough, the Orianna doesn't have consistent damage output, so a lot of the weight will have to be carried by CC chains and really strong finesse in the team fights, which all day long we have seen from Gen.G. In this series, so we know they have it in them. Basically this team has won regular season a million times in a row, as Digon was pointing out, because they have said finesse. They're pushing the bottom lane right now, which leaves them a little bit weak elsewhere.
Yeah, Ruler is in a little bit of trouble, but now so is Smash. Duro comes over, Keen finds the gold card. The kick is gorgeous. Tempered Fate comes in though. And now Duro trying to line up that Cosmic Binding. Death rate's fantastic. And now Xiu is looking for Keen. Lucid gets in there, finds the double. The flash to get away, and he taps and takes down Ruler. Oh my God, DK are now in the lead.
Whenever people ask me, okay, hold on, we are done. Whenever people ask me why Lee Sin came back into the meta, I'm just like, because it's Korea. He
never left.
Why is Lee Sin so high prio right now, Wolf? Well, have you seen the highlights of every single jungler we have in the Legend group? And also Sharvel.
Yep.
And also some of the other players.
I mean, Sharvel is honorarily in the Legend group, let's be honest.
But players like Gideon as well deserve a bit of a shout.
This was ridiculous.
Ruler nets the wrong direction here, so that's not great. Smash gets stunned here, and the Tempered Fate buys some time, and then Lucid's like, yeah, but I'm him. Watch this, though. Like, seriously. Q's in, goes in for the follow on the ward. He drops the ward, flashes the wall to get out of turret range, and then executes Ruler, who took too much damage because he netted the wrong way. Craziness. All right, we'll watch it from his
starts the fight by taking like 2 turret shots walking in.
Watch the control ward hop here. I want to see his view on it. Crazy.
Puts the control ward inside the turret. Perfect flush over, and thanks to Career as well for setting up the play, but it was just beautifully orchestrated.
And now D+ are in the lead in this game. They have the strong scaling. They're going to get this turret here. It'll be the second of the game, so tying it up 1-1 here as it was a big push in the bottom lane from Keen that whole time. But I think even though the goal is against them, they're in a really advantageous position in this game.
Yeah, the problem is there's the Keen effect, right? The Twisted Fate problem does just skew gold.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
The 500 gold lead, like the fact that there's a 2,000 gold advantage here for TF is not as impactful, right?
Yeah,
he does now have a rapid fire cannon. He is going to be very, very strong, but you know, his kit is based around generally being further ahead as far as money.
He's also AD, so in terms of damage here, it's a little bit sketchy, right? What he's actually going to be able to do in the late game if he is ahead outside of side lanes.
Yeah, and if he is CC'd, he just kind of dies.
Exactly. I think the game state definitely favors D+ now. With a double dragon, they also have in tow. Possibly a triple.
Lucid. This is a bit cute. Gets on in there, steals away the dragon, and he'll take the Shelly exit from this one. Can they actually find themselves a team fight off the back end of this, though, as Keen is looking to be his target. Shelly continues. Canyon with the Crescent Guard does come in there as Lucid gets himself out. Canyon goes back in. Shu with the Mega Nut pulls Canyon back, and they take down the Lee Sin. Canyon goes golden with the help of that Tempered Fate, but Shiu's looking for Ruler. He'll slap him down, and now Keen is taken out as well. 3 kills here for D+. And man, like, this team is just so tenacious these days, Wolf.
I mean, I said they had a lead even though the gold wasn't the advantage. Now they've got the lead and the gold advantage. As Showmaker looks like he's going to be fine here once more, which is greedy. But he is just going to be fine here. He's going to push this wave and try to continue to put that turret down. That bottom turret is also going to go down here. As you can see, Shiu has full control. He's even proxying with this Herald between turrets, which is very awkward.
And also, based on that Dragon Steal, they now have Soul Point.
Exactly. So this is a zero-risk play for Lucid, by the way, because of the Herald drop over the wall. He has wards to play through. Watch his Safeguard come back up, so when he drops out of the Herald here, he is going to have that to play through here, so looks for a kick play. Doesn't have the damage to kill Twisted Fate, hops over the wall, but has kept Keen at bay, so he can't actually peel in this fight when the Gnar goes through. It's a beautiful fight. Beautiful, beautiful fight here from D+ and Lucid. And then Shiu sets us up as well, gets in the back line, takes out Ruler, and Gen G just get pulled into 5 different directions after what looked like, to them, from their perspective, a pretty solid dragon control. They're like, oh yeah, we've got control. There's nothing they can do.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, let me break the game!
And Ruler getting hit by that Petrifying Gaze was absolutely massive in that fight as well. Showmaker was hidden that whole time. And so Caitlyn just not being able to do anything in that fight whatsoever really made it so the D+ were able to turn that one around.
These players are going to get this champion nerfed, man. They got to stop it.
Yeah. They're going to get Shelly nerfed as well, man. That was kind of ludicrous driving from the young man. Smash has done so much damage in this game. We need more magic resist for 80 carries, I think. 205 on this Victor. And he even has like this build that we saw yesterday that we just don't really like very much. It's not a massive amount of damage. This is what BDD had when he flashed on top of Pays and just kind of died and looked a bit silly.
I do like it, given the Caitlyn trough that we're going to see, which, I mean, frankly, she's been in it for a little while now. But within the game set we have now, like the real 80 carry for a little bit is Keen, who unfortunately had Lee Sin on top of him the last fight. Career is going to have to do some fancy footwork to get out of here.
Yeah, he does flash, but there is the wind becomes lightning. Tempered Fate is going to hold him in position, and Smash is like, no, you don't even get my gravity field, brother. You are dead.
They give the kill over to Ruler, which is one more step closer to getting his IE completed.
Oh, Canyon spotted here as Lucid looking for a Q. Doesn't quite get it, as she with half a Narbar. We're going to set something up, see whether they do decide to go for a play. I don't think so, especially onto Canyon. Crescent Guard can make Lee Sin's life just that little bit annoying.
Okay, Shiu playing with fire here. I think needs to back away.
Yeah,
doesn't have an R, and we'll get away. So game pretty close right now, but the fact that D+ have this soul point means they can control the course of the next few fights. Do they want to avoid one and hard push a side lane? Do they want to force a Twisted Fate to ult in and then look for a turn with their Camille? Do they want to just commit to the dragon and force a 5v5 where they feel like they're stronger right now? If they end up losing someone in a side lane and Gen G are on the dragon, they could threaten a Baron, for example. They have a lot of damage they're moving up to on this double mage composition with the Victor and the Cassiopeia. So Gen G are going to have to play really well around the map to get this game back into their favor.
Yeah, they have a lot of tools
a good
for
start.
That. Yeah, they have a lot of tools for that. Keen with his Destiny Gate can always have vision. So when this dragon is up in a minute's time, they can kind of brute force their way in there if they're unable to actually get the map control. It's one of those things that's made Twisted Fate so powerful over the years. And then they can potentially work their way in that way with that true sight that they do have of their opposition. That doesn't last forever, though. So we'll see whether D+ can force it out relatively early.
For D+, they have Shiu carefully threatening top lane, while they have so much prio here on the 4 on the bottom side for this dragon that spawns in 30. If Gen G don't respond, then Shiu's just going to keep pushing. And if they do, Shiu's going to try to keep his Narbar perfectly set for a TP in. I mean, look at where it is right now. He might actually even want to start the fight off, but he's going to wait for a better opportunity. It's going to be Keen to answer, who doesn't have TP, for a few more seconds here. So there is a small window, actually, if they're very aware of this, where they can actually try to play through this Dragon Burst. But look at the amount of control they have. And this is what I was talking about. Like, Gen G kind of have to follow the play. They can't necessarily set the play right now.
Yeah, 4 seconds, and that Dragon is up and available. Canyon, Chovy, and Duro all here in this area. Ruler is trying to hold down the fort in the mid lane.
If they
got to do that.
If they get Keen to leave this top lane, they can just contest Dragon with this Lee Sin that has flash and keep pushing. If they don't like this, if they don't like the Narbar state, they don't have to come into this fight. They can just control the tempo, and that's exactly what they're doing right now. Keen's about to have his TP, and he's like, I think I have to TP there, or at least Destiny over. He's going to leave. This wave is taking out mid plates, and Showmaker's pushing, and this is the power of having Soul Point right now. D+ can do whatever they want.
Yeah, they don't need to worry about this. Shiu, his Narbar isn't in a great spot. Destiny has come on through. Is now Keen looking to try and get on in here. He does teleport in from Shiu, but he only has half a Narbar, but it's getting close, to be perfectly honest. There's the Shockwave to guarantee the Drake. Kick back onto Canyon. And no real fight has started off just yet as Korea gets into that backline. He's looking for an angle, but he just dies. Not really a whole lot more than that, but now Shiu, he might have an angle to try and find a huge Gnar. Wants to get over that wall, but decides he's going out instead. And D+, I don't think they want this fight after all. Keen looking for an angle, flashes in, does get the gold card. That's a 3-man petrifying gaze, and 2 of them have already hit the deck. Smash with a gigantic Arcane Storm. And it is 3 for 2. Drake goes over to Gen G. They'll claim the gold lead.
Pretty haphazard fight, I think, for D+, all things considered. I was setting up this Maestro scenario where they were pulling all the strings, but then when they had decided to go in for the steal, it's pretty haphazard, right? D+ are in a position where while Lucid goes in here, he can't really force anything, and he just kind of awkwardly kicks Canyon, which doesn't set up anything. Doesn't allow them to do anything. The Tempered Fate actually denies all the follow-up, and Career gets burst down before he can ult Ruler. Ruler flashes instantly and nets away, and they kill him, so that's also a tool gone here. How D+ play this defensively, though, is pretty impressive. Shiu kites away here, and watch this as Canyon rushes forward without his ultimate. Showmaker looks for the turn and ult. Shiu follows up with the last remnants of his Narbar, and the burst from Smash allows him to get the Chaos Storm massive, which allows them to at least run away with their tail between their legs, but they do escape. Gen G back in control of the map, back in a gold lead here, and deny Soul from D+, so a huge win for them on the fight. And D+ could have opted into a lot of different scenarios. They could have kept that TP on top side, could have left Shiu pushing, but instead, they go for the fight, and it fails.
Oh, Smash now going to get hit by that ace in the hole, but he's not too worried about it. Ruler will be able to wait until this wave heads back towards this inner turret. And yeah, you said it pretty well, right? Like the Drake going over to Gen G just isn't much of a big deal, right? DK can just do it next time, try and force that Soul.
But the Drake and the fight means they're no longer dealing with that side lane Gnar. He doesn't have TP anymore either. You know, so many of the problems they had right before that Dragon started that they had to really play. I mean, Gen G played so carefully to group up and kind of push their way through vision rule. His flash was amazing into the flanking Camille angle. Like, Gen G did so much work to get into that. And the D+ were like, we'll fight anyways. Yeah. Gave him the fight, and now the map control isn't theirs anymore. So that one Dragon is way less valuable than the amount of control Gen G just got back, but they got both.
Now Lucid looking for an angle towards Ruler. There's the kick. They dive on top of him. Hextech Ultimatum comes down. He steps out of the Tempered Fate. Not exactly the move that he wanted to do. And now the Arcane Storm is in. Career will be taken out as now Lucid versus Canyon, but Lucid has Smash there alongside him. Chovy going to get pushed away by Shiu, and Showmaker trying to work out where to be. Keen is just destroying stuff on the sides of the map. And they lose 2 in favor of 1, but like this inner turret going down as well is a big deal.
Baron is going to be the attempt here for D+. as they rush over to try to take this one down quick with this double mage composition. They should be able to get it. Now, Keen, I think instead of trying to defend this, absolutely should just look for an inhibitor here if he can. There's no one who could defend this. I mean, it's a Bard coming over here with Duro just in case anyone comes down here to help protect Keen. So Baron will go over, and finally, Career is able to come over here and stop this turret from going down. Keen is going to just walk away here and has that Bard to back him up, so should be totally fine. But I like the call here for D+, to just send it towards Baron. And now that the Baron in tow, she'll be able to get back that map control. This has been such a back and forth game. Oh, this from Ruler is unfortunately just way too greedy with no flash. He has no flash in the previous fight, and he's just burst down.
And it was a bait from Gen G that D+ just kind of read and then won. It was kind of ridiculous. The fight on the bottom side, I kind of missed, as the Magical Journey was what got Duro and Chovy out of there.
The Tempered Fate used to try to settle the play was the trap they were trying to set, but then it wasn't able to help defend the bottom side of the fight, like you were saying. It's a bit of a mess on that one, and at least they got some push on the bottom inhibitor, but didn't actually take it fully out. Her turret, that is, inhibitor turret. Now with this Baron, let's see what D+ can get on the map. Map control, I think, is pretty much a given, but maybe starting to threaten some of these inhibitor turrets could be on the menu here. 2 minutes left on the push.
Yeah, Chovy throwing his orb around, trying to take down this minion wave smash. Oh my god, that is so much damage on the inner turret.
He has 10 Dark Seal stacks. He's about to have Death Cap. He's got Void Staff. He has been accelerated in this game, and he is.
And he heard us. He heard us saying stuff about his build, and he's like, you know what? I can just build maximum damage. Void Staff straight into Death Cap, and I love to see it. And he also has 290 CS here at 27.5 minutes. Not too bad. There it is. So Death Cap comes in alongside Showmaker being able to set up the shred for this Victor as well. Smash is, yeah, this is Build the Puppy, and this is looking pretty deadly.
This game and this draft, by the way, Rise Group teams, do not try this at home.
Oh, no.
Only D+ can pull this off, I think.
I actually think that, like, D+ are the best team at playing Victor Bot. I don't think any other team has really been able to find the level of success that this team has with this exact composition.
And they really have tried, haven't they?
They certainly have. All right, now Keen is going to throw down the Destiny as the Drake has been started up. Lucid is spotted because of that ultimate from Keen, and Smash trying to find some of that poke damage here. It is going to be the Drake secured by Gen G. 2 Cloud Drakes. It's not exactly end of the world, though, and now D+ are looking to try and route them as they look to make their way out of this. Miasma goes down, and D+ are not going to be able to get on top of Gen G. Successful heist here into the Baron. They also eat Baron time with that play as well.
It kind of feels like both of these last Dragons have been, you know how when you have Soul Point, you can force a lot of things on the map, because if they don't go to the Dragon, you can get the souls, so they have to be there, then you can just ignore it and push when you're a 3-Dragon lead. Feels like Gen G have used the Dragon the opposite way and gotten D+ off of the map twice. Like, the last one, they committed to a fight and also lost the fight, and this time, D+ just waste a lot of time, including that Baron you mentioned, and Gen G still Dragon deny. They don't lose the fight this time, but there is no fight, which is exactly how Gen G like is. We're looking at Ruler. Yes, he's significantly behind in this game, but he does have 3 items here and so much setup in this draft. Arm Guard for Chovy hasn't been broken. He's going to be pretty safe, and we'll be able to get a few rotations of spells off in a straight-up 5v5. And now the Dragon's gone, Gen G just kind of sit back and play through the Orion and clear waves, and this game is way closer, I think, than it had any right to be.
Yeah. Really did feel like Gen G got off to the right start, then D+ found the beautiful turn with some sick plays out of Lucid, and then there's like a natural ebb and flow of both of these compositions, and I feel like it's flowing back in favor of Ruler especially. You were mentioning it, has picked up a couple of items, now 3 now in pocket, but as soon as that armor pen comes in, he's going to be unstoppable.
He's got his flashback, he's got Ghost. If you end up losing the tempo on a fight, he presses Ghost and starts chasing people down, headshotting. It is not going to be what D+ fans were hoping for. Because right now, you're feeling still okay if you're a D+. You're like, oh man, this is going to go to 3. You know, we are looking really in form before we go into playoffs. And like I said, this could be the finals. These could be our best 2 teams in the LCK. Form-wise for round 3 and 4, statistically they are.
I mean, they have the best score lines in since MSI. And one of these teams is going to demonstrate that they have been the best after that mid-season tournament has concluded. Also, you know, it feels like it's the opposite situation to how the EWC matchup went right before the finals and the semis, where they faced off against each other in a best of 3. It was a close series that ultimately D+ was able to take, but maybe Gen G this time around
end up taking the win here in their final bout of the regular season. It's been so exciting to watch these two teams at the top of Korea here towards the latter half of the year, where D+ have really turned it around. Yeah,
and I want to go back to Hama Life Esports heroically winning MSI, because I think we definitely need 4 seeds. There's a lot of teams that we want to send to Worlds, okay?
Yeah.
And could have meant that D+ or even Gen G miss out, or even T1, right? There's a lot of teams that are looking like they are vying for World Championship position, as now Gen G possibly looking for a turn onto Showmaker. Miasma goes down. Man, it's so annoying to be a Xin Zhao when that is available. It avoids the Q. But Canyon also unable to find the Wind Becomes Lightning as Shu lurking in the sides here. They know that the Nabar isn't there as Korea dives in, stunned up immediately one more time, as Showmaker does manage to get the ulti, but Tempered Fate buys so much space. Shu with the wallop though, and he gets on top of them. Lucid finds his way back through, and Keen goes down. Lucid finds another one, and my God, this guy's Lee Sin, the instant quadra kill, and D+ are bringing us to 3.
And Gen G didn't take the Lee Sin into the Cassiopeia, and I think maybe they regret it now with how well this young man has taken over this game. A quadra to end it. 9-2-5 the scoreline, as D+, as they often have before, despite the loss streak against Gen G, have brought us to a full 3-game series. These two teams just deliver every single time. It just goes to show that D+ can win with almost anything. Smash 26,000 damage in this game.
And who said that mages in the bottom lane were dead?
Maybe this is just CV Max thriving as the underdog squad, making these drafts as hard as possible. Or maybe for D+, who there's no implications for this series.
스페더군요. 아니네 뭐죠? 블럭. 나를 메가 싸워봐. 나올 것 같은데. 아니 빅토르로 피 갈고 하는 거 아니? 피 갈고 하는 게 좋아. 오케이. 캣돌풀. 괜찮네. 우리 각 좋은데 여기 각 좋아야. 우리. 나를. 야 캣돌풀. 아, 다른 노플. 좀 안 되냐? 캣돌 노플. 다운풀이야. 다운 끝나다. 나이스. 끝났어.
얘들아.
가자.
끝내. 미드.